Hello and welcome back to another weekend news roundup with the Bamsters crew. It is Monday, October 21st, and we're going to cover a few things. A follow-up story to the Werewolf, the Apocalypse, Earthblood that I mentioned last week. Some changes coming to Humble Monthly. Some additional information about some games that either have released or will shortly release. And some updates to a couple of existing games that haven't necessarily been doing all that well. So keep it right here, and we'll get started right after the break. Alright, as promised, first up is some information on the Werewolf the Apocalypse Earthblood video game that is in production, or development, I should say. The company released some info from PDX. They had a trailer that they showed and was released online. The article I was reading about this was a little bit disappointing. They talk about how, new sneak peek at the game, and they released all kinds of other information, and it's nothing. The trailer is it's a teaser trailer, which, depending on just how far in development they are, that would kind of make sense. But to advertise it as being lots more information, to me, feels like quite a bit of an overshot. The trailer itself is a CGI trailer. That's really, I mean, there's some video and some CGI mixed in, or at least I was assuming it was video. If it was CGI, it was good enough to look like video. And, it sets up this storyline, basically, that it's, the werewolves against this company that is, responsible for a lot of deforestation and some other stuff going on. So that's cool. I couldn't find anything in the article that had this information that talked about whether or not this is a third-person game, if it's a top-down game, whether it's turn-based, real-time, if it's a strategy game, a survival game, if any of those mechanics are making into it. They talked about how it is, obviously based on the tabletop role-playing game, which, okay, yeah, great, but what did you take from that and how did you implement it? So I guess, left me disappointed because there just felt like a real lack of information. Maybe just it was that much hasn't come out yet. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'd hope there would be more information when they had shown this at the convention. For those of you that don't know, Humble Monthly is a subscription on a monthly basis that gives you access to all kinds of games. Now, these are, you may have heard of the website Humble Bundle, where you can, pay a certain amount of money and get access to like a whole package of games, a variety of games. This is similar to that, but on a monthly basis where they were curating the games. This is now going to go through a modification where it's going to be Humble Choice is what they're going to call it. And, well, they're calling it that because they're going to give you a choice to what you get to have in your monthly subscription. Now, if you're already a member and you're paying the $12 a month, you'll get grandfathered into the new program. And if you aren't already a member and you purchase this after the fact, well, it's going to cost you more. Now, that's not me telling you run out and go get the subscription. The Humble Monthly subscription can be a really great subscription, especially for like indie games and stuff. But I would definitely encourage you to go to the website, take a look at previous Humble Monthlies, and just look and see if it's something for you. And if it is, then you may want to get into this before the end of the year. Reason being, the Humble Choice service, whereas the Humble Monthly was $12 a month, Humble Choice is going to come in packages that's either $5, $15, or $20 a month. Now, the Choice, or Classic, actually seems to be a better deal than all three of these. So I'll go through the different tier levels here. So the Light Humble Choice Monthly gives you access to the Humble Trove, which is a bunch of DRM-free games that you can, pick and choose from and sit down, download those and play those. You get a 10% discount on the Humble Store, and you'll have a limited access to Humble published originals and betas. The Basic service, which will be $15 a month, will give you a choice of 3 games per month. It includes everything in the previous tier, but it also is 3 games per month, which you get to choose from, whichever group of games they have that month. Then you get unlimited access to the Humble published and betas. The premium version, which is $20 a month, will give you access to choose 9 games per month, and you'll get a 20% discount. So whereas with Light and Basic you got a 10%, with Premium you get 6 additional games over the basic plus an additional 10% for a total of 20% off. Now the classic, which is the grandfathered in Humble Bundle, gives you 10. So if you're already a member and you stick with this, you're getting a better deal than the folks who are signing up. Which, in today's market, that's actually kind of cool to see, just because of the fact that there's so many incentives trying to get new customers in, that it always feels like customers who've been with a company or been with a service for years end up getting screwed because they're always trying to bring new customers in. So this is kind of nice that they're hooking up their old customers that have been with them for a while. Now this is supposed to go live sometime in 2019. No word yet on exactly when, but as it is the end of October, there's only 2 months left. So if this is something you might be interested in, I'd highly encourage go over to Humble Bundle's website, check it out, and maybe get signed up before the end of the year before this changes. Felix the Reaper just released this past week. Now, if you don't know what that is, or you missed out on our interview that was on Wednesday last week, you should definitely check that out. By that, I mean the interview and the game. So, the interview was a fun interview with one of the developers from Felix the Reaper. And, we talk about all kinds of things, from how they did like the dancing and the animations and, the music that was done with, a bunch of, musical creators, as well as the decision to go from your typical skinny Reaper to the nice chubby, big boned Reaper that they ended up going with Felix. So, yeah, definitely check that out. We'll make sure there's a link in the description so you can see our interview. Check it out on Steam and GOG. Or on console, and it's a fun little puzzle game. So it's a top-down isometric puzzle game where, as the Reaper, you're basically, if you remember the movies like Final Destination, where these crazy outlandish things were happening because somebody was supposed to have died but somehow survived or escaped death at the last moment, and so the Reaper that you never really see on screen was throwing all kinds of crazy accidents at them to make them die again. This is that kind of thing where you're playing as the Reaper and you're going in and through a series of levels setting things up so that at the end someone dies in some kind of crazy way that, because I think they put it, their life contract was up. The way that the puzzle part comes into it is where things are positioned on this little grid. It is a grid-like map, and you can only move in the shadows. And you can rotate the sun in one of two directions to fix or to change where the shadows are, to give yourself different paths. And you can pick certain things up and put them down to increase the length of those shadows. So it's a fun puzzle game, and it's a cute game. So definitely go check out our interview for that. That was episode 181 last week. And, go check out the game as well. And speaking of the end of the year, Jedi Fallen Order has gone gold per a Twitter post on Respawn's account. So get ready to play that, because that comes out on the 15th of November. So we are, wow, that's, less than a month. We're finally get to play a new Jedi game. And I don't mean the Battlefield games, because there may be some things to like about those games, but come on, really? And in other Star Wars news, the final Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker trailer will air tonight on Monday Night Football, so expect that also to pop online probably around the same time, if not shortly thereafter. So if you've been waiting to see what other little bits of information people can glean from Star Wars, expect the internet to explode tonight and tomorrow with different theories based on whatever people are able to pull from the different stills of going through the trailer still by still, frame by frame. On Wednesday, Bam and I are going to talk about some of the games we're playing, because we've always pre-record our episodes, so we record over the weekend, but, I've been playing Destiny 2, and he actually just picked up Anthem not that long ago, and it, kind of got me wondering, how many of you may actually be playing Anthem, or have you been thinking of jumping in? They just started their Season of the Skulls, which is their Halloween event. It is live, I think, as of last week, if I remember right. The only requirements that I saw is that you need to have completed the incursion story, but there's no level requirement for it. From the information I've gleaned, it sounds very familiar to the Cataclysm events, maybe with a little bit of a, different reskin on it. There are some really cool armor sets to collect, though. Some are better than others, depending on which Javelin you like to main as. Is it worth getting back in? That's really my question, is if there's any one of you listening to this that is playing Anthem right now, do you really feel like it's worth getting back in? Is it worth grinding out for, the armor sets? how bad is the grind, and how interesting is the event. So if you have any information on that, reach out to me. I'd like to hear from you. And then lastly, Fallout 76 Wastelanders DLC is delayed, but on the positive up note, private servers are set to launch it this week, and then mod support should follow along at some point. The Wastelanders DLC is a free update that they are planning now for Q1 sometime next year. That's one that will bring human NPCs back, and it looks like some crazy-ass mutants. That's great. This is another one I wonder, I know that there are people still playing Fallout 76. I kind of wonder what the size of the community is. It's one I've meant to get back to at some point, but I probably will be waiting for the private servers, and I may even wait for the Wastelanders update before I try and dive back in and take a look at it again. The one thing about the private servers, though, this looks like this is going to be a service. So they're listing this as their number one requested feature, which makes total sense to me, because when you're playing in Fallout, I get it. A lot of people wanted to play single player. They didn't want to be forced into online. Or even if they did play, they wanted it to be maybe, with a few friends and still get that feeling like it's mostly barren out there. It's maybe you and a couple other survivors trying to survive this wasteland. So that makes complete sense to me. As far as how this service is going to work, I'm expecting, I haven't seen details yet, but what I am expecting is it's going to be similar to Conan Exiles, where you rent some server space, and they are listing it as a purchasable service. So I expect you'll basically be the server admin that will set the rules, that will set which kinds of mods you can enable once mod support does come online, and then give access to those who you want to be able to play in that server with you. So that is at least a positive update for Fallout. I know that anybody waiting for Wastelanders probably be a little bit disappointed, but I mean, look, with all the trouble that this game has had, if they're willing to put it off, I should say it this way. Looking at how the game was released and how bug patches have come out, and I don't even know if I would call them bug patches considering how much more they break. If they are saying that they need more time, that really says something about where this DLC is at. So give them the time. Don't be an angry mob on the internet. Give them the time they need to get this really ironed out. And hopefully when it releases, paper clips don't weigh as much as a tank. All right, that's been our weekend roundup. Just a few of the topics I saw over the weekend that I thought you guys might be interested in. As always, thank you. Likes, shares, subscriptions, always appreciated. They do help us out a lot. So thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you found something of interest. And tune back in on Wednesday when we have our regular episode. Bam and I are going to sit and talk about a couple of games we've been playing lately. We should return with interviews again soon, but it's the tail end of convention season, so this time is always rough every year to get folks lined up for interviews and stuff. Until next time, this has been Draconis, and I'm out.